always the answer.
What's with the neighbors? 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 What's with the neighbors?
Hi guys, that's Bree.
And that is Amy.
This is our podcast. Don't tell them what it is. Don't tell them.
This is us,
Let them guess.
not the show.
Not the show. This is us, not the show.
Yes, it's a lot scarier. That's all. That's all the hints we're gonna give you.
A lot of stuff happened this week, Bree.
Oh my God, Amy's alive, guys.
And so is Bree. So, we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail.
Because we don't know a lot of detail.
That's true, yeah. But there was someone in our neighborhood driving around shooting at stuff. And he drove in my driveway.
Yeah. It all started, because that morning.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, that morning, Josh goes to work, and he calls me, and it's like the street that's right outside of our street. If you live in the area, it's Brock. Can I say that?
Sure.
It's like off of Brock and Rep Road.
No, we're just giving people invitations to our house.
It was on Facebook. You can see it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But anyway, it happened around there. Josh was driving by there, and he's like, yo, something's about to go down. There's a lot of police and, like, unmarked police vehicles and people in uniform, military out there holding, like, guns and firearms and whatnot. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. He's like, yeah, it's like, it sounds like they're, like, about to, like, take down someone's house. So immediately I text Amy, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? And thinking that my friend knows everything in the whole wide world involving crime.
And also you're hoping that if it was still there, like, I would
drive by it. Yeah, because I don't leave my house. I stay at home.
Right.
And so Amy's like, okay, this is weird. So I'm going to text you what Rick just texted me.
Yeah, no. I said, I'm going to hang up with you and text you what Rick said.
Yeah.
Because I was, like, very freaked out.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to respond. Yeah.
You can
So
go.
Rick texted me, and he was like, hey, there's a clip of someone driving in our driveway around 3:30 this morning. Can you download it? And, like, he had sent that to me, like, the second I woke up. And then, like, I get out of the shower and see you texted me, and you're like, are you up? And I'm like, what is happening right now?
The world is ending.
The world is ending. And so when I first viewed the camera of what Rick told me, I didn't think much of it. I thought someone was just, like, lost and at 3:30 in the morning, like, probably drunk, lost, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't think of much of it. And then I saw your text message, and I was like, what is happening?
It's a little weird.
That's weird. Yeah. So
Can I talk about my camera?
yes, please do.
Did you even listen to it?
Yes, I did.
To yours?
Yeah.
You listened to yours? You heard it too?
There's no sound. There's nothing significant in mine. But I sent it to my parents, and they said that there might be a sound because I sent them mine and yours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, on mine, you can see the vehicle go down the road at, like, it was like 3:20, and then they take me and Amy, it takes like 30 seconds to drive from my house to Amy's house. And 5 minutes later, they drive back down the road. And in between that time, you hear like 5 or 6 gunshots.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. I was listening to it on my headphones too, because I didn't want the kids to hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately, I'm just like, ah!
No one got hurt that we know of.
No.
Because it was all over Facebook. But yeah, he was just wild and out there.
Yep. You can look it up. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it yet, you've probably heard of it. Or I don't know if that made any sense. Just look it up. You can see what things happened in North Pole.
We felt kind of cool because we gotta send in our footage to the evidence for the troopers.
We're like,
hey, I have evidence for you, and they're like, cool.
Of course, now when this person gets out of,
he's gonna kill us.
He probably listens to our show, and he's
obviously
gonna be like, thanks a lot, ladies.
Yeah, fun stuff. Fun stuff happening.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
Lock your doors, people.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then now Bree's like all freaked out.
Yeah.
You guys. She's like, I'm worried about you. And I'm like, don't be. You're fine.
Seriously, though, if something happens, I don't care what time it is. Josh is always looking for a reason to use
Yeah. His
specific
protection.
things. Yes. Yeah. And, like, you know, just
I'm
say
fine.
something.
But I would call you guys. So I
Okay.
should actually save Josh's phone number. Because, like, otherwise I'd have to,
You don't
like...
have his phone number saved yet?
no, I only message him on Facebook.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But, like, I'd have to...
That's his means of messaging everybody.
Oh, is it?
For some reason. I don't know why. He texts people, too, but he also, like, messages people.
So, like, that's, like, he's used to, like...
They must be true friends because he texts them and he messages them on Facebook. I was watching this TikTok about like people who are like your true friends, and there was like 5 different like reasons of. Wow, it was a good crack.
Thank you.
One of the things was if you communicate with them through 2 to 3 apps or more. And I was like, oh, Amy and I talk through Snapchat and Facebook and Messenger, or sometimes TikTok.
Yeah. We've also had like multiple conversations.
And phone calls.
Yeah, but like we'll be texting and then we'll call about
Yeah.
something and then we'll be talking in another app about something else.
Yeah.
I do that with my sister also. Like we have multiple
Let's
conversations.
carry on with
going
this section, with this topic.
So I have a question for you.
Okay. Man, I really sucks at this. Anyway.
Oh, you don't want me to?
No. Ask away.
Okay.
I'm looking for questions now.
You don't have to.
Okay. Cool.
You're fine.
No pressure. Cool.
What did you get into the most trouble for with your parents as a kid?
Ooh. I was a good kid.
Yeah.
I really was.
You didn't
I
ever
don't
get
know.
in trouble?
No. I never got in trouble.
I don't believe that.
Okay, so I got Saturday school once,
Bree!
but it wasn't my fault.
It wasn't your fault.
I had the worst teacher. I didn't even get in trouble for it by my parents.
Oh.
So I don't know. I could say that Saturday school, but that was from school. And it was because we had this assignment, and it was like this huge assignment that we had to do. And me and this girl had made a video for it, and we had it all ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And our flash drive wasn't compatible with her Apple. She had Apple, and it wasn't compatible. And she's like, "You failed." And I was like,
that's not your guys' fault.
"What the F?"
Yeah, what the
And
heck?
so, like, the only way I could, like, fix it was if I went to go get my actual laptop, and somehow we could, like, hook up my laptop to her projector.
Right.
My laptop was in my car, and I parked right off of campus because I didn't want to pay for parking.
Right.
And so I went to go get my car, and a teacher caught me, and they were like, "You're skipping." And I was like, "This one time I was not skipping." Like, no. And they're like, "You're going to Saturday school." I was crying. Me and the other girl were bawling our eyes out. It was so lame. All we had to do was just sit there in the cafeteria for like 3-4 hours.
That's such a stupid
Like,
punishment.
I would much rather have gone and like cleaned the stadium or something like that. But no.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they
what about
didn't decide to like assess the whole situation and be like, okay, she actually was getting her
Oh,
laptop.
she was a very known to be a jerk teacher too, though.
The teacher, your teacher,
She
or the
wasn't
teacher
the one who. Yeah, no. That teacher also was. Yes, I think she was the computer teacher there.
So they were both just like,
yeah, and the other teacher was gonna fail me. She ended up giving us a D the next day or something like that because I brought in my laptop, but I got a low grade because it was late. It's like I had it ready. The one time I actually have my work ready. Oh,
I'm sorry.
so that's why I don't try in school, kids.
Told them that.
Don't even bother. Just kidding. What about you? What did your parents give? That was not even the answer, but
I can't think of like the biggest trouble I've ever gotten into. I was actually a pretty good kid also, But I do remember this one time, and for some reason, I think about it like probably like once a month, because I have anxiety.
Yeah.
But I went grocery shopping for my mom. This is not the biggest trouble I ever gotten into, but I never did anything bad. Like I was not a bad kid, but I went grocery shopping for my mom, and I had heard that prenatal vitamins help your hair and
Yeah.
nails grow. And so I got them for myself, and I like wasn't trying to hide them because I didn't think it was a big deal. And my
Oh, God.
parents were taking out the groceries, and my mom found it, and like I was trying to tell her what it was, and my dad like grabbed me by my hair and like dragged me outside.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was like yelling at me, and I'm like, it was because I thought my hair would grow better. Like, I'm not pregnant.
Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's like that horse and mane, that mane and tail
Yes,
shampoo
yeah.
that people were using for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a horse, but I'm going to use shampoo for them. Like, it's okay to use prenatal vitamins,
Yeah.
though, still. Like, they are good for your hair.
Then I
and
learned
nails.
that there's like biotin.
Yeah.
which-
Hair, skin, and nails.
yeah.
Which that's actually, I can't. I learned recently that that's not good for whenever you're taking thyroid medicine, or
Really?
it
I
can mess
didn't
up
know that.
your levels whenever you're doing like labs and stuff.
I learned that biotin is not good for acne. It causes acne.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I went to a dermatologist, and she was like doing the micro whatever to my skin. And I was like, yeah, like I'm breaking out really bad right now. And she was like, well, do you use biotin? And I was like, or she's, asked me like, what do you do? And da da da. And I was like, I take biotin. And she's like, oh, that's so bad for your skin.
Oh, interesting. There
Yeah.
you go, people.
It causes acne, or it can cause acne. I don't know. I have, that was not a blow to my parents, by the way, because I know they listen. I could say all the other terrible things that you guys have not done to me, because I was raised in a very good home.
They're good parents, guys.
They are.
I sound like such a goody two shoes. I was also the youngest too.
Yeah, you probably got away
So
with a
yeah, I got away with a lot. A lot was unseen.
lot. I was too scared to be bad.
My brother
so-
and my sister. Anytime my brother and sister would be mean to me, I'd scream for my mom, and she'd
Oh
be
my
like,
gosh,
"Be nice to
Brie.
your sister." I was a brat.
You sound like a brat. One time, I love telling this story because it's like my favorite story because I think it's hilarious, but it wasn't funny at the time. But I left my car in a private parking lot, and I left my car in a private parking lot, and I drove with my friend. And we were like just hanging out and doing like driving around and being kids and stuff, teenagers. Well, actually, I was out of high school. And I left my car there overnight. Well, we stayed the night at her house. We went to go pick my car up the next morning, and it was gone. It had been towed because it was a private parking lot.
no.
And so I found out what parking lot, like who towed it, which it was the people. They had towed it like an hour before I showed up, which sucks.
Oh no.
And so we go back to my house because the car was in my parents' name. So I couldn't like do anything. I was going to have to tell my parents about it. And we go back to my house, and we're hanging out, and my dad comes in. My dad and my mom come home, and my dad's like, "Hey, Amy, where's your car?" And I was like, the towing company for the name of it was called Keith's Towing. And my dad's like, "Hey, Amy, where's your car?" And I was like, "At Keith's." And he's like, "Who's Keith?" And I was like, "Keith's Towing."
Oh no.
They were so mad.
Yeah, I'd be mad at you too.
Yeah, it was well deserved. But I
Bad.
just love it because he's like, "Who's Keith?" And I was like,
Keith's towing.
"Keith's Towing." So, yeah, I didn't get in that much trouble. I was a good kid.
I'm still trying to think.
It's okay, Brie.
I wish I had like a cool story. But,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
That just means that we were both good kids.
It's annoying. Like I wasn't Stupid goody two shoes over here. All right, do you want to hear a neighborhood story?
Yes, please.
I assume you're going first this week since I
Yes.
went first the past couple weeks. So this one is from next door, and it is called Stolen Honor. My blade, an old ninjutsu relic of the Hebe Cage clan, was stolen. It was in an SUV at blank. The police said the police said excuse. They are laughed at me for this. I don't know. I believe myself and the rest of blank are tired of this useless law rubbish. Do
Oh.
your effing jobs like we pay you to do. To the thief, run. I will catch you. Hide, and I will harm you. Return what is stolen, and I will forget you. You have 1 week before I call in more help from very special friends of mine. I can hear its call. You have been warned.
Oh my gosh.
And then they drew a picture of it, of what the blade looked like, and it looks like a cartoon picture. It's terrible. It's like, I think we talked about it last year too for St. Patrick's Day. Also, I'm celebrating St. Patrick's Day again this episode, guys.
Yes, she is.
But the leprechaun video that I showed you, they drew like what they thought the leprechaun. It looked like a sketch like a kindergartner would have drawn. Hey, anybody see the leprechaun?
Okay, but in their defense, like, not everyone's a good drawer.
It's terrible though. It's so
I'm
bad.
so bad at drawing.
It's so bad. Oh, tell me a story.
Okay. So I'm actually going to tell you a story from South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Sick.
So I'm going to tell you a story about someone in South Carolina. My eyes were a little red, and so I had to put eye drops in them this morning.
Segue. Okay. I'm
So
sorry
I
for
just
that.
wanted to let you know.
Okay.
I didn't use Visine. I used a store brand, Select. So I'm going to tell you.
This relates to your story, doesn't it?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. I'm going to tell you about Stephen Clayton. Stephen was born on May 1st, 1954 in Miami Beach, Florida. While little information was known about his mom, his name was Roe Clayton. He was an accomplished businessman. He instilled his value of compassion and hard work into his 5 children: Stephen, Valerie, Patricia, Cameron, and Rosemary. Stephen's early years were spent in Miami, and he graduated from Miami Springs Senior High School, where he was celebrated as a versatile athlete. He played football, ran track, and was involved in Greco-Roman wrestling. Please don't ask me what that is, because I have no idea.
Sounds cool.
Sounds dope. He also graduated from the Miami Military Academy before earning a Bachelor's of Science degree from Florida State in 1976. So this guy is like,
Those Seminoles.
yep. He's super cool. He went on to become a certified public accountant, which, like, what? Like, you have all of this accomplishment and you're an accountant? Not just an
It's
accountant.
easy. It's
you're-
all the same everywhere.
I guess you're a public accountant.
I think that's what Ben Wyatt says is that he likes accounting. It's easy. It's the same everywhere.
It's numbers.
It's numbers.
You can't go wrong.
He loves numbers. Calculator. I love his number jokes.
So, for a time, he put his skills in the finance department of Fort Lauderdale Holy Cross Hospital, but he really didn't put his name onto the map until he became the president and CEO of a physical therapy resource and medical business, specializing in sports and injuries that grew on a national level. So he had like multiple physical therapies offices. They're like a chain.
It's cool.
This business was so successful that he was able to retire when he was 41.
Dang.
Yeah. He used his wealth to indulge in his passion for international travel. He also had many hobbies. He wrote poetry, collected fine art, loved to play golf, and was passionate about hiking and had a love for gardening.
Oh, man. This guy has a great life.
Yeah, right? His Fort Lauderdale garden grew the attention of all the neighbors, and he was happy to share any gardening tips.
Oh,
He's
cool.
just a good guy.
He's got a green thumb.
He's got a green thumb. In 2010, Stephen met a nurse online named Lana Walsh. She also lived in Fort Lauderdale at the time. Lana was born and raised in Oklahoma. She quickly stole Stephen's heart despite his string of failed marriages. He quickly invited her to move in with him, and the couple seemed blissful to the family members. Together, they adopted 2 greyhound dogs, one
cute.
named Genesis and Stella.
I wonder if they were, retired ones from the racetrack there.
Oh, that
Because
could
a lot of
be
people get retired greyhounds from the racetracks in Florida. Well, they don't do it anymore because the racetrack is shut down.
Oh.
Because that's cruel.
Yeah, it makes sense. And they got
We
married.
had one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did
my
it run
ex-mom
really
had one.
fast?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What was
She was-
its name?
It may have been Stella.
That's
What's her
weird.
name? Oh, it was my ex-stepmom's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She bit me.
Oh, did you get rid of her afterwards?
No, she nipped at me,
Oh,
and
she nipped at you.
she was in a cage her whole life.
Yeah.
It wasn't her fault. She was a really sweet dog, very
Aw.
docile.
So Stephen and Lana got married in 2013. The two ended up moving to Lake Wylie, South Carolina. And
South Carolina.
Yep, that's what I said.
Go on.
Okay. Don't know what I did wrong. And the most beautiful Greek architectured $1 million lakefront home.
Ooh, fancy.
I know. Despite not having any biological children himself, Stephen loved children. Lana had a boy and a girl from a previous marriage, Ryan and Kelsey, who were already adults when she met Stephen. Ryan and Kelsey also had children of their own, so Stephen loved playing the role of step-grandpa.
Aw.
He had extended family that lived nearby, and Lana's son was close as well. So they at least had family.
Yeah.
Lana found work as a veteran affairs nurse in Charlotte, while Stephen spent his retirement mentoring others with entrepreneurial...
Entrepreneurial. You said it right.
aspects and offering pro bono business consulting. So, this guy was just, giving back to the world.
Oh, man. This guy just sounds like a grand guy.
Doesn't he? He just sounds, perfect on paper.
On paper.
Or not. Maybe he's great
I have a
in
bad
person
feeling
also.
about this the way Amy's looking at me. Somehow all of her stories lead to something bad.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that
Yeah.
happens.
Like true crime. What?
It's almost like I'm a true crime enthusiast,
Wow.
and we
Whoa.
have a true crime paranormal podcast.
Oh, yeah, this is our True Crime and Paranormal podcast. What's with the neighbors?
That's what it is.
Never did that in the beginning.
So he also volunteered on the editorial board of Lake Wylie's Pilot, a local newspaper that closed down in 2016. His role on the board deepened the respect he had for the community. I just want to be next to this guy and he sounds so cool. His circle of friends came from all walks of life. He was friends with janitors and with financing moguls. He loved everybody.
Yeah.
He can't get any better.
No, he can't.
He's got to be super ugly.
Oh, my God. You're making me so nervous. Just get to it already.
So Stephen was just that personable and easygoing.
Probably has
could-
really bad teeth.
Probably. There's got to be something wrong with him. He's got like a mole.
Yeah.
Like,
The only thing that you can point out, he's like a really good-looking guy, but he has like one tiny little speck, like a mole in a weird spot, and you're just like, there. That's what's wrong with him.
that's actually,
It's a beauty mark. Call it what you want.
call it what you want. It's there. And that's,
It's a defect. The only one
Or
that
like
we can find.
what if he like has like really bad plaque? Like you can see the plaque on his teeth.
Or if he has like a disease like irritable bowel syndrome. He poops all the time.
He's always in the bathroom.
like, ugh.
Actually, it's funny that you say that. His bowel movements come up.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
That's
even
weird.
lying.
Anyway, okay. Ew.
So, well, like not into like detail, but it's mentioned. Okay.
Okay.
Is so he was friends with everyone. He often hosted parties at his estate where were like the talk of the town, like these big elaborate parties completed with catered food, live music, and fireworks. The Claytons' life together was joyful, at least from the outside looking in. On May 30th, 2016, Lana contacted the York County Sheriff's Office to let them know that she had accidentally shot her husband with a crossbow.
Oh. Yeah. It's
I just nodded.
That's normal. That's probably not the first call they've gotten of the day with that same thing.
It's actually a very big problem in York County.
Oh, you're the sixth one on that street today.
At the time, she said that she was struggling to load the crossbow downstairs, which, as you do on a normal Tuesday evening.
Of course.
She was frustrated, because she couldn't load it correctly, apparently. So she goes upstairs to ask help from Steven, but she saw that he was asleep. So, trying not to wake him up, she went into the other room and accidentally went off and shot him right in the head.
In the other room? From
She went to go into the other room, and like as she was doing that in those motions, she accidentally shot him
Oh,
in
I
the
see.
head.
Right in the head.
Her great accidental aim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in the back of his head as well.
Not
So-
great for him, though.
No. So he woke up screaming in pain and bleeding. Deputies.
And of course he's alive from that because it's a freaking arrow in your head.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
God.
So, deputies soon arrived at the Claytons' residence to check on Steven. During his interview with them, he told the officers that he was fine and that the shooting was an accident.
All right.
According to the police, according to the police report, he said he didn't believe his wife was trying to kill him. When Lana was interviewed, she seemed upset and began crying, and she told deputies that her husband has never hit her, but he could quickly turn cruel, and she hinted at emotional abuse, but her allegations were never investigated. So who knows if no one knows if it's true or not.
Okay.
Because she never reported on it.
Okay.
She never told anybody.
Just that little comment.
That little comment.
Okay.
Also, this something that I wrote and then I deleted for some reason. This is Steven's 7th marriage.
Oh, wow.
He just has a really hard time. I've told you it's the plaque on his teeth.
Yeah, right. The mole.
Yeah, the mole. Yeah. So, after reviewing the incident, about a year later, deputies came to the conclusion that it was an accident and declared it in the report. No attempt to commit a crime was found.
Okay.
No other incidents with police involvement occurred until nearly 2 years later, in mid-July of 2018, Steven found himself severely sick. The symptoms began on July 19th. First, he had an earache, which progressed into a serious bouts of nausea and dizziness. Stephen's family knew he suffered from vertigo spells on occasion, and since Lana was a nurse, they're like, well, he's fine. Like, he has this, like, really bad illness. He'll get over it.
Yeah.
Lana will take care of him. From July 19th to the 21st, Stephen was bedridden and barely conscious. On the morning of July 21st, 2018, a Vietnam veteran named James Blackledge was riding his motorcycle down the road when he saw a woman running across her front lawn, screaming. Lana flagged down the stranger and told him that her husband had fallen down the stairs and begged him to call 911. While James was on the phone with the dispatcher, Lana started running over to the neighbor's house for help. The neighbor, Terry Floyd, rushed inside where he found Stephen at the bottom of the stairs, and he couldn't find a pulse on Stephen. When deputies arrived, Lana explained that she had checked on her husband around 11 a.m. and he had been sleeping. So after ensuring that he had like water and his medicine was right next to him, she went outside to mow the lawn. Which, if you're that rich, why are you mowing the lawn?
Yeah.
You're not.
Sounds like a really big property, too.
Yeah, you're not mowing the lawn,
Yeah,
Lana. No. You're not. What are you doing, Lana? So, after hours later, Lana came back inside to find her husband lifeless at the bottom of the stairs. And something that they were able to capture on the police body cam footage, Lana expressed her guilt over not checking on Stephen sooner.
Okay.
A friend came over and was like consoling on Lana, like, oh, it's okay, Lana, don't blame yourself. And Stephen's nephew, Nick French, happened to be a police officer in a nearby town. And when he heard of his uncle's sudden death, he rushed over to the mansion to check it out. When Stephen was declared dead at 1 p.m., the deputy coroner told investigators she saw nothing suspicious, and her first impression at the scene was that the 64-year-old man had died from a sudden heart attack. So Stephen's nephew did not agree with this. He was like, all right, there's two details that I can easily pick out from this scene. Stephen always has his phone on him. Where's his phone? His phone is upstairs. Why would he walk downstairs without his phone? Secondly, Lana made no attempts to resuscitate him or perform CPR.
Right? You're a nurse.
Yeah. So, and like you can tell when
also, why did Lana like tell the guy who was randomly
To
running
call
outside
911.
to call 911? Why
Yeah.
hadn't she called them yet?
she's a damsel in distress.
Like, I wasn't thinking.
I don't know.
No, my first instinct would likely be to call 911 and see what I could do there because you only have a short amount of time.
Exactly. The longer
Like,
you wait.
Yeah,
And you don't know
go
how long he's been
outside,
on
you're
there.
wasting time.
Yep. Lana clearly never took a CPR class.
Lana,
though
where
she's
did you get your nursing degree from?
So when the topic of Stephen's funeral came up, Lana blurted out that she wanted to have him cremated, which made Nick even more suspicious. He's like,
What are you trying to get rid of?
well, yeah, exactly.
What are you trying to hide, Lana?
What are you trying to hide,
What's
Lana?
going on, Lana?
I bet you thought that this guy was going to be the murderer, huh? You thought Stephen was going to be the murderer.
I actually did, yes.
Yeah. When Nick searched the couple's upstairs bedroom, there were indications that his uncle had been bedridden for days. The bed was drenched in urine, which pointed to the sign that he had been too ill to even get out of bed,
Oh my gosh.
and which did not go hand in hand with a sudden heart attack.
Right.
And when Nick asked Lana about the urine-soaked sheets, Lana claimed Stephen sometimes would wet the bed when he would suffer from vertigo. Which, okay, but, like, you're not going to clean them.
You've had vertigo,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's what you suffer from sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's my crystals.
Like, what is it? Like, you sound so, like, hippie when you say that. You crack me up when you say that.
They're real.
Oh, I believe you. I believe you with how much issues you were having with them.
But
Well, when you said it was vertigo,
I would still go to the
that made more
bathroom.
sense. Yeah, exactly. Like, it wouldn't put you out to go to the bathroom.
No.
You just
Laying
couldn't,
down
like,
made it
drive
worse. Yeah.
or, like, think or walk
Yeah. I mean,
comfortably. You could
laying-
get yourself to the bathroom.
yeah, but laying down would make it worse for
Okay,
me.
right.
So I don't understand. I don't know. Another nephew, Chris Bargan, arrived at the house to console Lana, because poor Lana.
She's going through such a rough time.
She really is.
Mowing the lawn.
It's a rough life.
Yeah.
Being a millionaire's wife
Yep, in the South.
in the South.
Oh,
yeah.
heavens. And the heat. Sorry. I'm from there. I'm allowed to do that.
Yes, you are. Lana asked Chris for help in getting Steven's affairs in order. Chris brought up his uncle's will, which named Chris as executor, and Lana denied that a will ever existed. And Chris is like, I know he has a will. He asked me to be the executor on it. Where is it? And she's like, he doesn't have one. So they're like, okay. That kind of like put the nail in the coffin for this family.
An attorney's going to have it.
Yeah.
If it was an official will.
Right.
Regardless, you can't just say that. Like, somebody's going to come up and say, here's his will.
And a millionaire's not going to have a will. Give me a break.
Exactly. An accountant. So
Yeah.
responsible.
Right, exactly.
Clearly, this guy was responsible.
Yes,
He had his moles checked.
yes. The one on his face is not cancer.
Yeah, it is a beauty mark.
Though he doesn't go to the dentist enough.
No. The black is strong.
We're not making fun of this guy.
No.
But he's just too perfect. So this kind of like put the nail in the coffin for the family. They're like, no. You're being way too suspicious, Lana. So they ordered for an autopsy and a toxicology report to be done. And Lana's like, well, that's too bad and it's too late because he's supposed to be cremated tomorrow. So, like, Nick and Chris rushed.
Why wouldn't the police do that anyway?
Actually, if the coroner doesn't think that any foul play happened, they won't do an
But
autopsy
that
because
just
it costs
looks
money.
suspicious.
Well,
Clearly that was not a heart attack.
but the coroner did. She deemed it as a heart attack.
That is baloney.
And so, if there's no foul play, they don't do one unless the family asks for it.
You
'cause it
tell
costs
me
money.
someone who's going to have a heart attack could have maybe not had something else going. What if he had like severe like a stroke or something that could have been passed down to a family member?
That would be up to the family to
That
do
is
the autopsy.
ridiculous.
When my aunt died, I wanted an autopsy done on her, but because they said, I forgot what they said, how she died. And I was like, no, it's like she overdosed or something. And my cousin refused to do a autopsy on her.
Okay.
So there's no foul play deemed by the coroner, no autopsy is done unless
Okay.
the family orders it.
There you go.
So
Lessons with Amy
thank you. Coming to my class
on true crime.
on personal experiences.
Amy the lawyer.
Amy the lawyer. Ding, ding, ding.
Thank you.
That's a judge.
That's a judge. Yes. Order in Amy's court.
So they're like, or Lana's like, no, it's too late. You can't do it. And so Chris and Nick like rushed down to the coroner's office and were able to have the tests of the autopsy and the toxicology report done before he was cremated.
Okay. Dang. They were like on top of it.
Yeah, they were not messing
They're
around.
like, we got this.
Like, oh, you said it's too late? Well, guess what? We're going to pull some strings. And they did. So when the coroner got the results back, Bree, they were able to find out that he did not actually die from a heart attack.
What?
Shocker. The autopsy didn't find anything suspicious, but the toxicology results revealed a presence of a chemical called tetrahydroxychloroquine. I'm not.
Tetrahydroxycycline? Tetrahydroxycycline?
Oh, that sounds right. Which is also called THZ.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The standard toxicology report wouldn't pull for something like this, but they had it go through a private lab, and that private lab pulled like for everything. So, what is this type of medicine? It is. The forensic toxicologist Demi Garvin determined that the poisonous substance was undoubtedly the cause of death.
Was it a plant?
No.
Oh.
They found high concentrations of this in Stephen's body. So they're like, that is definitely what it is, because that's not supposed to be
In there.
consumed.
Right.
Yeah. THZ, sorry,
Yeah.
is commonly found in several brands of over-the-counter eye drops.
Oh, Visine.
The most popular in which is Visine.
They don't put that in there anymore, though, I don't think.
This is from 2018.
Yeah, I thought they weren't supposed to put that in anymore. Because, like, I remember in the movie Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put it in his drink,
Uh-huh.
and so that he would be sick all the next day, and he had diarrhea all the next day. But, I mean, they didn't put a lot. It was just some of it in his drink.
I don't know if they still do it, but Brie, when I was looking up, because, I forgot to tell you this in the beginning. I got this story, this story was one of way too many people that have died from Visine Google searches.
Did you just look up people that had died from Visine?
Well, there was a story that was on my calendar, my true crime calendar that I have at work.
Oh.
That you got me.
I'm so glad you like that.
And someone else, they're like, where did you get this? And I was like, my friend got it for me. But it was the story of a woman that her husband poisoned her from Visine, but I couldn't remember her name.
Okay.
When I was at home researching, I forgot to write it down. Brie, there was way too many people that have died from Visine. Like, this is a problem.
Okay, guys, Wedding Crashers was a movie. Don't actually give people Visine.
Yes. So,
don't get dead.
Don't get dead. An overdose of THC can lead to drowsiness, respiratory depression, slowed heartbeat, hypothermia, and possibly even a coma.
Oh my God, this poor guy.
Or death, obviously.
Steve.
I know. The most frightening thing about THC is that it's colorless, odorless, and tasteless. Yeah. As soon as the toxicology came back, Lana was brought in for questioning, obviously. When the investigators from the sheriff's office and the FBI listening in, with the investigator from the sheriff's office and the FBI listening in, the deputy coroner asked Lana about the Visine in her husband's system. She claimed that at some point Stephen had heard from someone that if you put 2 drops of Visine in your coffee, it will help you go poop.
Oh, you know, I'm sure that is true. It probably is true.
Well, there's his bowel movements.
That was actually very fast thinking on her part. But that
seems
like it's still not enough.
Yeah.
2 drops.
It's not enough to kill somebody.
No.
Yeah. According to Lana, he had been doing that for years, and when the coroner informed her about how much THC was in his system, Lana immediately said it was Stephen's personal Visine. Like, they're like, I don't know why I said that. That doesn't make sense. Anyways.
It was his personal stash. Locked away.
It wasn't hers. She's like, well, it was his. It's not mine.
Sorry.
Like when people get pulled over and they have drugs in the car, like, oh, I don't know how that got there.
This is my cousin's car. Always.
So the investigators were in disbelief that a nurse would be unaware of the dangers that come from ingesting eye drops.
Chemical?
Yeah. They theorized she likely knew it couldn't be detected in Stephen's drinking water. So they're like, I bet she knows. Detectives decided it was time to inform Lana that Stephen's death was suspicious in nature. As the interview grew more tense, Lana just ended up stopped talking and left. And the investigators were like, we're going to follow up with you. So they actually just followed her back to her mansion. And they're like, we're not done with this conversation.
Yeah, we're just going to finish up here.
Yeah. And so then Lana eventually confessed. And this is quote unquote. This is exactly what she said. I have a little table set up next to the bed with his tissues, his urinal, his medications, his Visine. And I just saw it and I was just so angry. I just took it and squirted it. I think I put the whole thing in. Oh my gosh.
Wait, he's urinal.
Yeah, because he wasn't feeling good before.
Oh, okay. Why was he not peeing in the bathroom?
I don't know.
You're rich. You have a bathroom right there.
He wasn't feeling good. And then he didn't feel really good.
How bad are you feeling, though? Why are you not peeing in your bathroom?
Maybe I don't know.
Clearly,
That's
you
what
wouldn't
she
use
said.
it as urinal if the bed was all wet.
That's what she said.
That's gross.
That's disgusting.
I don't care how rich you are.
Use the bathroom.
Yeah, unless you're bedridden.
Which I don't think he was.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Unless he absolutely was then, which it doesn't sound like
maybe
he was.
Maybe that's what it was. He had a kink for using the urinal and not the bathroom.
He still wet the bed. Okay, we're not making fun of him.
No.
Sorry.
The amount of THC would be enough to cause Stephen to stop breathing. Lana added that her husband had been sleeping and she just delivered that fatal dose into his water. Lana admitted her admission maintained that she didn't intentionally kill Stephen. She had just hoped to make him really unwell for a couple days. She claimed her husband had been abusive. However, investigators found nothing except a report from 2016 of the crossbow incident. So it sounds like she was the abusive one. In retrospect, they wondered if the so-called accident had been Lana's first attempt on Stephen's life.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh. After canvassing the neighborhood for witnesses, investigators received several reports of Lana starting a fire in the backyard the day after his death. And his nephew, Chris, is convinced that's when Lana burnt the Stephen's will. The suspected motive of his murder was now financial gain. So they're like, now it's premeditated. Shortly after the interrogation and confession, officers left the mansion. While an arrest warrant was prepared, sometime between when neighbors last saw her around 9:30 p.m. on the night of August 29th and 7 a.m. the next day, Lana had tried to take her own life. One neighbor reportedly went to check in on her the morning of August the 30th and found a suicide note on the deck table. The neighbor called the detective directly and asked him to perform a welfare check. Police officers, firefighters, and EMS workers were called to the scene when they opened the back door and gas fumes just leaked out of the house. It was super overwhelming. And according to the incident report, Lana was found in an upstairs bedroom. She was unconscious but was still breathing. It would later be revealed that she had taken pills and turned the gas stove on super high to kill herself. After receiving medical treatment and a brief recovery period, Lana Sue Clayton was arrested on August the 31st, 2018. She was charged with first-degree murder and malicious tampering of food. She was held without bond at the York County Jail to await trial. Lana was assigned 2 public defenders, and the case was went to trial. They knew when going to trial, they knew that there was a high risk of the death penalty because South Carolina remains one of the 27 U.S. states where capital punishment is still legal. So to avoid this possibility, Lana was convinced her best option was to take a plea deal. The defense lawyers and prosecutors came to an agreement she would plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter and tampering with food or drugs. When Lana testified, she said, "I allowed these emotions to make me do something in a matter of seconds that I will forever regret. I did impulsively put the Visine in Stephen's drink, but I did it with the intent to make him sick and uncomfortable. I was upset about the abuse and I just wanted him to leave me alone. I never thought it would kill him." And the judge responded to that. He was like, "How can you maintain you did this to teach him a lesson when it was obvious from the facts that you let him suffer for 3 days? You ignored him."
Yeah.
Stephen's extended family were present at the hearing, hoping to see Lana brought to justice for what she did. Lorna, Stephen's goddaughter, called Lana's claim of being a victim phony. She said Stephen's family had been fooled by this devious and vicious manipulator and begged the judge not to be fooled by her as well. And several other family members made victim impact statements, all echoing similar sentiments at the hearing that lasted nearly 4 hours, which is a really long time for a sentencing hearing. At one point, emphasizing by Rosemary, his sister, one of Stephen's sisters, was accountability. She reminded the judge her brother's death may have never led to criminal charges had her family not insisted on this toxicology report or test. Lana could have gotten away with murder. And the judge decided on her sentencing to be a prison term of 25 years at the women's only correctional institution in Greenwood County, South Carolina. Lana will be eligible for release on November the 24th, 2039, by the time she will be 74 years old.
Wow.
And I know that was long. I'm sorry, but that's the story of Stephen Clayton, who was such a great guy.
Yeah, nothing wrong with them.
Nothing wrong with him.
That we know of.
And also, don't kill people with Visine.
Just don't kill people.
Yeah, and don't get dead.
Don't get dead, and put your Visine up in your
Yeah,
cabinet.
holy cow! Maybe just don't have it's such like it's a household item. It terrifies me now.
I have regular. I don't have Visine, but I have the off-brand.
Yeah, I have the off-brand too.
The off-brand dry eye drops.
Yeah,
I have to use them a lot this time of year.
Yeah, so do I.
Do you? Okay, it's not just me then.
No. I wish I would bring them to work with me. I always forget.
So, since St. Patrick's Day was on Friday, but this episode's gonna come out 2 days after St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so,
I'm sure people are still celebrating.
Yeah, I don't really celebrate.
Bree just wanted to drink green beer.
I really just wanted to drink green beer and wear green, so... and also this place is pretty flippin' cool and I've been wanting to do it for a while.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you guys about the most haunted mansion in the world. And it is, everywhere has said that it is deemed the most haunted mansion in the world. So, this is Loftus Hall in Ireland.
Oh
Ireland.
My god.
I'm not going to talk in an accent at all. You. I'm going to refrain from it. Okay.
Editing was so
cringy.
Yeah. But also...
What with the gnar? It wasn't even an Australian episode. It was just gnar. That's all me and Josh say to each other now. Anytime we say no, we say gnar.
It's okay.
I'll just show you the guy on TikTok that I found that does that. Okay. So... The property of Loftus Hall was originally established in the 12th century. Who knew time went that far back? It's really far.
I'm sure the people that lived there.
It was a long time ago.
What about the 1st century? What happens then?
I don't know. I have no
What
idea.
is the first century? Like
I-
Jesus?
I don't know. Maybe.
No, before Christ. That'd be like Moses and Abraham. Is that the first century?
I have no idea. I don't know. You're the one who's reading the Bible.
I'm listening to the Bible.
You should tell me. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to take a break from the Bible, and then I went like the opposite spectrum, and I listened to a book about a midwife that during the Holocaust,
Oh,
and she was like at Auschwitz and stuff, and
you
that was
listen
really
to books?
fascinating. I guess I do
You
now.
should listen to the Harry Potter series.
I don't need to. I've
You
already
can log
read
into
it.
my Audible.
I already read it, Brie.
But it's so much better to hear over and over and over and over and over.
You know, I
I'm
feel.
almost on the Half-Blood Prince for the third time.
Oh my
fourth
gosh,
time.
Brie.
I can't remember. So, the property of Loftus Hall was originally established in the 12th century, around 1170, in Hookhead, New Ross County, Wexford. I didn't know if they say Wexford County or County Wexford because it was written County Wexford.
Okay.
Ireland, by a knight named Raymond Le Gros. The property first had a castle on it, and from what I understand, Knight Le Gros wanted to like dive into like Irish society and like become part of it, so he even changed his name to like Redmond, and the property stayed in his family until like the 1350 or it stayed in his family, and in the 1350s, the Black Plague hit, and his descendants replaced the castle with like a more modern residence,
Oh, okay.
which was a 22-bedroom mansion.
Very modern.
Super common, like everybody's got
Everyone
'em,
has one.
Not a big deal. And it was known as Redmond Hall.
Okay.
That is until 1666, which, so I don't know if that's the correct year, but
Knock it off.
I looked up another site. I had another year on there before, but I looked up another couple sites, and other sites said it was in 1666. And I was like, weird.
666.
That definitely goes with my story 1,000%. Anyway, so already you can gather that this place has had a long history.
Yeah.
However, it's had some pretty spooky stories that go along with it.
Shocker.
Shocker, because this is a podcast about rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, and puppies.
Dead
puppies.
Dead puppies. So the first story I have, and the most famous story about it that I have, falls on a dark and stormy night
Ooh.
in 1775. Let's get the sound effects, the storm coming in. When a handsome gentleman on horseback sought out shelter at Loftus Hall. The current family living there, the Totemham family, allowed it since they had often had this happen because they lived right near the ocean or the coast or whatever, and
Yeah.
so they would let sailors that were passing come and stay there every now and then.
Okay.
So the man got comfortable. He remained there for several days, and the family kind of took a liking to him. And they got extra close, especially with the family's daughter named Anne. Her and this man got pretty close and possibly cozy.
Okay.
She evidently fell head over heels,
I bet that hurt.
but I'm getting ahead of myself with the heels part. So
Oh. Okay. You're foreshadowing.
one evening, the group sat down to play a game of cards. During the game,
They did that in the 1700s.
yeah, cards have been around for a long time.
Okay.
Like dice, home slice. That rhymes. Okay, so during the game, Anne had dropped her ring, or some say her card,
Okay.
and so she leaned down and grabbed it, and underneath the table, she sees that this guest does not have human legs. He
What?
had not human legs. Just noodles.
Would
He
you
had-
rather?
He had cloven hooves.
Oh my gosh.
See,
I thought you were gonna say
head over
lizard.
heels.
Yeah.
So Anne screamed at the sight of this, and the man. So there's a couple stories. Either he jumped straight up, went through the ceiling, and left a hole through it, and turned into like a fireball,
Yeah.
And then there's another story saying that he disappeared up the chimney, followed by a loud clap of thunder. However, there's a giant hole in the ceiling even today
What?
with like burn marks around it. So pretty crazy.
Wow, that must suck during winter.
Yeah, right. It's during rain.
Yeah, during anything. Yeah.
The family was surrounded by the smell of sulfur,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then he was just gone just like that. So, like, you know, the smell of sulfur is like a sign of like demons. So, according to many, word spread that Anne was driven mad from this encounter.
Wow.
So her family had no other choice but to confine her. They locked her away in their tapestry room, which I
Frickin'
guess was
Elsa.
once her favorite. It was once her favorite room. It's probably the room that they would put her in whenever she had her period once a month. She's mad. Evidently spending her days just sitting and gazing out the window.
Sounds just like Elsa. I'm
It's
sorry.
So right? Oh my God! You. That's so sad, and so that story is really messed up.
Yeah, it is.
So literally for the remainder of her life, which lasted for less than a year later,
Oh.
and she was buried, and she had to be buried in a sitting position because her body was so stiff from being stuck in that position, just sitting and looking out the window.
Oh my gosh, Brie, that's so
I know.
sad.
So in the early 20th century,
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Why did she die only a year later?
just madness,
Oh, okay.
just madness.
Also, probably like bird flu and all those
Also-
diseases from the 1700s.
Yeah, those.
She was driven mad.
Yes.
Okay.
Weird way to die, right?
Yeah, it's super sketch.
I have an alternate ending. So there's another story to the more it's a bit more tragic, but also more likely the story.
What can be more tragic than being like confined to a room and you're so stiff that you can't even.
And the devil coming to see you. Don't
Yeah.
forget that the devil paid them a visit
Yeah.
and like hung out with them, and the daughter
Played
fell in love
games.
with him.
Yeah.
So that was the big story that everybody had heard, but the more likely story is that when the devil went down to Ireland. Yep, thank you. Going with the story that Anne did indeed fall in love with this man who apparently left them. Anne was heartbroken and driven mad. So that was
solid.
that's solid.
Okay.
Anne fell in love with this guy, and he left, driven
Right.
mad. The family did not lock her away for this. However, later evidence suggests that Anne was actually impregnated by the man and died from childbirth because they refused to let medical care come in and take care of
Why?
her because they didn't want anybody to know. It made them look bad. She was not married.
Okay, so let's just kill our child instead.
Just let her die. It just makes us look bad.
But also, like, I wouldn't want to raise a devil's child.
Yeah.
So
Well, he could have not been the devil. We don't know that for sure. But also, yeah. Anyway,
how are you, Brie? By the way,
how am I?
you are raising Natalie.
So it is also suspected by some people that the man actually proposed marriage and he
Oh.
didn't get approval from the father and was offended, so he had left.
Okay.
Evidently, the devil paying you a visit versus being pregnant and out of wedlock and whatnot was a more acceptable story then. Not wanting
Apparently.
to damage the family's reputation. Years later, in 1872, the home was renovated and evidently found in the walls of the tapestry room was a skeleton of an infant.
Ew.
So the story just adds to it. To add to the spookiness.
They just put the frickin' baby in the wall.
I know. Isn't that messed up? Like, you didn't even give him a proper burial. Like, you guys are disgusting.
That's awful.
Yeah. To add to the spookiness and possible truth, Anne's grave isn't, like, it's not far from Loftus Hall, but different from other graves. Anne's grave is cemented. Like, her whole burial site is cemented to where no one can dig her up.
So the devil can't dig her up.
So either they're trying to stop something bad from coming out, or they're trying to stop people from getting to her to find the truth.
Interesting.
But no one will never know, I guess. It's a dirty little secret in the dirt. So many puns today. Like I said, there still is a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah,
I don't
why
know.
haven't we
Like,
repaired
even
that?
today, they've kept the hole. There's just this big hole in the ceiling, and you can see like burn marks on the edge of it. So what the heck happened?
I mean, I would understand why you would want to preserve that because that is bananas.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
But wouldn't you like maybe build like another roof on top of it?
Or just like put a sign that says, "Here was once a hole where the devil came to pay us a visit."
I would build like a little like box over it so that like, you know, the weather doesn't get in.
yeah.
But you can also see it.
So from looking at it, I don't think weather can get in that part. And I know it
'Cause
doesn't
they're
make
so
any sense.
rich,
I
so-
think they fixed the roof over it. I think they've just, because it's on the downstairs floor, I think they've just kept that bottom floor roof hole open.
Oh, so that was just like one of the stories.
Yeah. Yes. It was
I
like
see.
the downstairs.
I see.
the
I see.
first
Okay.
story.
Okay.
Okay, so there's lots of legends in this place.
I bet.
So originally, the architecture of Loftus Hall, and I had to dig to get this one, was uniquely designed, such as the grand oak staircase in it. It said that the staircase is hand carved and so detailed
Jeez.
that supposedly the entire structure can just like slide into place with no nail. Like it doesn't need any nails; it's just like perfectly fits it.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true.
That's so cool. I bet it is.
That's just how they described it
Yeah.
to what I was listening to.
I would hope they'd still use nails because you never know.
And there are only two others like it.
Oh.
One in the Vatican and the other on the Titanic.
Well,
I don't know how true this part is. So
that would be amazing.
Here's
And I
the-
believe both of those.
I'm going to. So in the entrance of Loftus Hall, the floor is tiled with like a beautiful mosaic tile. And according to locals, the family had two of the most talented craftsmen in Italy. Like they went and found them and they offered to pay them over the price that they would charge them to come to Ireland and do this job for them. They're like, we want you to make our floor perfect.
Right.
We want something that you've never done before. It's got to be beautiful.
Gotta.
Grand.
Yeah.
So they agreed, and it took them years to do it.
Jeez.
They finally completed it, and they had to come get the owners to come and inspect it and make sure everything's okay, check it off, make sure it's complete polished and
That'd be a
shininess
bummer if it
and whatnot.
wasn't.
Right? Like this I don't like the color of this stone right here. Take it all out. So they loved it.
Oh, good.
Actually, luckily for them. And they didn't want anyone else in the world to ever have one like it.
No.
So they paid them even more money and they let them live there forever and they lived happily ever after. That's it.
Oh, okay.
No one died.
Thank you.
So the source that I got this from, this little bit of information, used the word slaughtered. So I'm just going to put that out there.
They did not.
Evidently, again, this is like a local legend, so I don't know how true this is. So it's messed up. It's like, no one else can have this.
So we're just gonna kill you.
We're just going to kill you. You may not leave. That sucks. Like, you finally get done with this job that takes years, and then you're just killed. Nothing
Just
else.
Done.
You're like, oh man, I'm finally done with this job, babe. I get to come home, get to see you and the kids. I heard Frankie started the 7th grade. I can't believe it.
Wow, and it's such an amazing piece of art. Too bad we didn't have like pictures so that I could take
I
this.
bet their blood's in it.
Why? This family? I don't like this family.
I know.
I'm
Dirty.
sorry.
So in 1917, Loftus Hall was purchased by the Sisters of Providence. I guess the home went out of the Loftus family. The family kind of died out, and I guess they
For
also
being
went
crabby.
bankrupt, right? So it was purchased by the Sisters of Providence and turned into a convent and a school for young girls wanting to join the order, which, you know, totally appropriate where the devil just came to visit. Let's turn this place
Do
into like a
they know?
church.
Oh,
Yes, they did know. everybody knew that this place.
Oh,
So-
look at the sisters trying to like.
They're just trying to make light of a situation. So they would
We can
have
fix this.
they would have mass there too, but not a lot of people went to mass because going to church where the devil visited was not a like.
Wasn't a popular opinion.
Yeah, it's not really a thing that you go and do. It's like, hey, this is holy grounds. Nope.
No, it
Not
ain't. No, it
anymore.
ain't.
He done burned a hole in the holy grounds.
But you know how like women like will date someone and like date a man and like I can fix him. Like
Oh
that's
yeah,
what the sisters are.
that's what this mansion was.
Yeah,
They can fix it.
we can fix it.
It's workable. So at the end of its time and of being a convent, one of the nuns, possibly two of the nuns, died. They fell down the stairs or possibly pushed.
Oh my gosh. By who?
I don't know. I looked everywhere for this. I heard
Did they
it.
also get impregnated by the devil?
Yeah, the nun did. Yeah, that would be crazy. No, I heard this in the show Destination Fear, and they were talking about it, but they didn't give too much information, and I kept on digging for it and digging for it and digging for it, and I couldn't really find a lot of people that knew a lot about it. So
Oh, okay.
I just know a nun died there by falling down the stairs, and a lot of people believe that she was pushed, and
Okay.
there could have been two nuns involved.
Okay.
So not super clear on it.
Right.
Also, there's a cross carved in the floor where she had fallen that they had put there, I guess out of a sign of respect.
Okay.
So I guess it's still there.
Are
Too.
we sure it's on X?
It's definitely a cross. The
Okay.
nuns put it there. So it's still there.
Okay.
So let's get into the reason that you guys listen to this part of it.
I like the history.
I do too, actually. I really enjoy the history.
Yeah.
So, since this tragedy, the Totemham seem to be haunted by the people who killed their daughter and their grandbaby.
Shocker.
They seem to be haunted by disturbances in the home, mainly in the tapestry room. Wow.
Whoa.
Go
Weird.
figure. Maybe because there are two people that just died in
Is
there.
it just a room of a bunch of tapestries?
It's so sad that it was her favorite room at one point, too. It's
It's like I hate this room now.
it's like, this is my dungeon.
Yeah. That's really
Um,
sad.
The family had summoned a Catholic priest, Father Broders, to the
No.
home. No, to the home to perform an exorcism.
Okay.
The family was set on the devil story, and when the priest, I guess the priest took care of business for the most part. And they were like so set on this story that when the priest died, his headstone supposedly says, "Here lies Father Broders, greatest of them all, who banished the devil from Loftus Hall." So,
They rhymed.
yeah, again, I don't know if this is a legend or not. So
I love
could be
it.
true, could be not true. Lots of places said it.
That's fun.
So in 1790, a guest invited to Loftus Hall for a hunting party arrived late, so he was put in the tapestry
What
room.
is a hunting party? Is it a bunch of men that go around and hunt stuff?
I would assume that it's a bunch of guys that just like get together and slap each other's
Are they-
butts and like, let's go hunting, yeah.
Or are they hunting each other?
That's I mean, they were rich, so
Could be. They'd be
Could be.
hunting the poor.
that's messed up.
That happens.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Wait,
why
that's
Robin
poor,
Hood?
That's poor hunting the rich.
Yeah.
Robin Hood. So he was put in the tapestry room as punishment. So you're
Okay.
late, you go to the tapestry room.
That's
Your timeout.
That's the timeout room now.
But all the other rooms were filled, so that was their last resort. After blowing out his candle and settling into bed, something heavy jumped onto his bed and growled like a wild dog.
Oh my
And the
gosh.
curtains were torn back, and
So it is a room full of a bunch of tapestries.
I guess that's
I'm sorry.
it's just the sound in there is probably like so well like soundproof in there from all the tapestries.
All the tapestries.
So many tapestries. They just have all their history in there on cloths and blankets.
Just close.
The curtains were torn back, and it said the bedclothes were stripped beneath him. I
Oh.
think bedclothes, I think it meant sheets.
Yeah, sheets.
At first, I was like, dang, it took off his clothes too? He was naked?
His bed jammies.
But now that I'm reading it right now, it makes way more sense that his sheets were taken out from
Yeah.
underneath him.
Why is he also? Why would he be laying on his pajamas?
Well, I was like, maybe they just say beneath him, like they just tore off his clothes,
Right.
like Magic Mike. I don't know.
Yeah,
Magic, Saint Mike. I don't know.
Magic Barnstein,
Yeah.
whatever his name is. I don't know.
So he first thought this was a prank. So of course, so he investigated the
Wait,
room.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting you again. What year is this?
1790.
Okay.
You know, back in the day.
Yeah.
The 90s.
Where they played a lot of pranks on each other.
And cards.
And cards.
Because they play cards there.
Wait, this happened recent, like in 1790. This guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So recent.
Well, I mean, compared to the 12th century, yes, it is.
True. So he first thought this was a prank, so he decided to investigate the room and found nothing was tampered with,
Right.
no signs of anyone. And then he checked his door because he had locked it when he had gotten in there, and it was still locked. So no
Oh,
one could
no.
have gotten in.
I don't like that.
And so that's one of the first things that had happened, other than the fact that the other people had been terrorized by something in the house.
Right.
Many guests have claimed to have been terrorized by a ghost of a tall woman in a silk dress. In 2014, a visitor named Thomas Beavis took a picture of the home, and you can see two figures standing in the window, and I guess this made like the newspapers
Oh,
and
my.
like magazines. During a lockdown on the show Destination Fear that I'd watched,
Yeah.
they arranged for one of the investigators to be locked and isolated in the tapestry room like all night. Like it was a surprise too. I guess I don't really watch them. I usually watch Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
But I guess this was just like something that they never do. And he's like, guess what? You're going to be locked in a room all night. And they wanted to kind of like get the feeling that Anne had whenever she
Right.
was locked in
Yeah.
there. And so they put him in the room all night. And first of all, the room had no lock, so they had to barricade him in there. They had
Oh
to
my
put
gosh.
like drawers and dressers in front of the door,
But
so he
I thought
could not
that the
get
guy
out.
was able. He checked that one guy with the dog, the scary.
They might have taken it off.
They might have
It
taken
was
the
a
lock
long
off.
time ago, Amy.
That- Okay, that makes sense. They probably changed.
I know.
doors.
I thought about that too. I was like, wait a second. How did they lock her in the room? Did it just keep
No
it barricaded
hardware.
all those years?
No hardware was allowed to be changed whatsoever, ever.
Yeah. So
They put doors, dressers, and stuff.
yeah,
like
they
that
had
in
to
front of the
lock
door.
him in the room like that. Second, his walkie-talkie went out like the minute he went in there because like technology has issues in there,
Oh my god!
and so he had no way to communicate with the others. So the entire time he's like trying to talk to them on the walkie-talkie, and it's not going through. They're trying to check in on him every now and then. They're just like, oh, maybe he's just not responding. They're not like going in there to go check on him or anything.
We don't need to knock on the door and see how he's doing.
So during his time in there, he got really emotional. He was driven to tears at one point, and he had heard a couple different sounds, but a big thing was he started hearing like a banging and knocking like against the furniture that was on the door,
Yeah.
and like it sounded like someone was trying to like push, like break in almost.
Oh my gosh.
And like every time he'd get closer, like it would stop, and he'd be like, someone trying to get in, and he got really close to it, and it started banging at him. He freaked out, and he's sitting there yelling for the other guys to come in, and they don't hear him because it's a flippin' mansion, and they're all the way across somewhere.
What,
And
they wouldn't be in next door.
no, they're like like a whole nother story of the house.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. It's a tapestry room. It's totally soundproof. Remember?
Yeah.
Tapestries are still up.
The callbacks in this episode are so good.
They eventually hear him.
Oh, good.
And they go and check on him, and he's like, I've been calling you guys this whole time. They ended up giving him, like, new walkie batteries and made him suffer in there the rest of the night. However, it was really funny because they all ended up getting assigned different rooms that were really haunted in the house.
Yeah.
And they all had their walkies, and he's like, I'm going to pay him back. And they're all settled in, about ready to, like, lay down and go to sleep or just chill out for a little bit. And he puts his walkie up to his mouth. He's like, hey, everybody. And they all like scream
Oh
and
my
freak out. And he's
gosh.
like, yeah. He's like, I just want to make sure you guys' walkie-talkies are working. Also, sorry for screaming in everybody's ears, but also not sorry because we have someone who can fix that.
We have a sound guy.
We have so guy. Another cool thing, they heard lots of footsteps, lots of knocks and bangs throughout the entire investigation. One of the guys that was camping out on the third floor in the hallway, his camera caught this like black figure pop in and out of the camera view in the hallway. It was really weird because it looked like someone just like poked their head in and then like they realized that they're seen and then they poke back out.
Ew, I don't like
Yeah,
that.
it was gross. It was weird. Other things that have been reported have been disembodied footsteps, uneasy feeling and emotional changes, hearing voices and unexplained noises, also hearing a baby cry, seeing orbs and figures, hearing not only dogs but horses,
Horses.
bangings on doors, sounds of people walking, technology malfunctions, and temperature drops. And as of today, Loftus Hall is unfortunately closed, but throughout its life it served as a family home, a convent, hotel, and overall tourist attraction. It has been investigated by numerous famous paranormal investigators like Destination Fear and Ghost Adventures. As of 2020, like I said, it did close. Then it sold in 2021 for $2.87 million. And it's
Jeez.
currently under renovations. Hopefully, it'll open back up to the public one day.
Well, I would hope that they wouldn't keep it for themselves. I would
Yeah,
hope that they
it
would.
was. I'm assuming that they're probably going to open it up because they'd be stupid not to. Because
like for a museum.
yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
like there were tours that were going on there just in like 2019.
Right.
and
That's what I
2020.
mean. Like a
Like
tourist
people,
thing.
I was reading online because I was trying to find some Yelp reviews, which everybody gave it like really cool reviews and said like they'd have some. I didn't have enough to give for
Right.
this episode, unfortunately, but they'd had some experiences and like being touched and tapped and hair pulled and stuff. So, it sounds like it'd be a really cool place to visit one day.
I would go there.
Devil went down to Ireland.
So you think that they're renovating it and they're going to open it back up for like tours
I
and
hope
a
so.
museum type of thing?
I'd imagine for 2.87 million, like it's secluded. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's nowhere near it. You have to take like a special road. Just I don't know, maybe not though. Now that I'm saying all that, it's really kind of a pain in the butt to get to. It sounds like,
But I mean,
but
it
it's
would
also
be
on
like
the water.
a half day thing.
Yeah,
A bus
but
takes
a
you,
lot
or-
of people went to it. I think I read like 70,000 people a year, 70 to 80,000 people a year would go to it.
That's
so.
a moneymaker, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah. Especially with it being that old, you know?
yeah. Very old.
I would just want to see it even if it didn't have any.
I wouldn't want to live in it.
No.
It sounds like a lot of things happen in there.
It sounds like a lot of cleaning too.
Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't want to go somewhere where I just can't believe the nuns, dude.
Y'all tried.
They tried. Do you want to hear a neighborhood story?
Yes.
That was a very good one. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I love that
Happy
one.
St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy St.
Again.
Patrick's Day.
Have fun with your hangovers
Also, don't feel sorry for you for having a hangover.
and your corned beef.
I need to do that. I need to make some.
I don't like corned beef.
Oh, really?
Too salty.
It is
make
very
shepherd's
salty.
pie.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good idea. I just love the cabbage.
I make a very white person shepherd's pie, though.
I'm sure you do.
I don't
You
even
probably
think it. I don't. It doesn't even have gravy. It has Velveeta cheese on it.
Oh my gosh, Brie. So this is from Reddit. We had an older lady living in the apartment above us. We both had balconies with wooden floors. We would be hanging out on the balcony after dinner, and she didn't love it, so she would hold a Windex bottle to the gaps between the boards and spray us with Windex, then quickly run inside and refuse to answer the door.
Okay, with Windex.
Windex cures everything.
You know, my stepbrothers got in a fight once, and I sprayed them with Windex to stop them from fighting.
Did it work?
Yes. He still talks about it.
Well, you know, that's the closest thing I
He
had.
sprayed Windex in my face. It was either Windex or a multi-surface cleaner. Dude, they were getting really physical. Like they were in a legit fight, and it was two grown boys, and I'm like, no! not in this house. Sprayed. It was the closest thing I had.
I mean, if
It's
you
like
didn't
pepper
spray it in
spray.
their face,
Yeah, they stopped
Fine.
fighting.
yeah,
I think I did spray it in their face.
probably cured their acne
I
too.
didn't have it on laser mode. I had it on the
the
no,
spray mode.
Yeah, the spray mode. Give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat. We're everywhere, guys. It's at WWTN Podcast. We are always loving new follows, and join our Facebook group
And our
What's with the
Patreon.
Neighbors. And our Patreon. You can see all the exclusiveness that
Super-
has happened in this episode, including a story that will not be shared
Yep.
on the actual thing that I don't want anybody else to know. So
Super dope Patreon exclusive offers that you can have. That's patreon.com/WWTN podcast.
on there you'll find our tour dates too.
Yes.
Not really. One in the future.
Yeah. You'll find stuff that you won't find anywhere else on our Patreon.
Also, don't forget, guys, we do take hometown stories, listener
Yes.
stories of true crime, paranormal, and neighborhood stories. It can involve anything. It can involve something crazy happening in your neighborhood, like someone shooting your house.
Yes.
Who knows? But yeah, they don't have to be long. They don't have to be short. Just send them in, and we'll make the decision if they go for the episode. We
Yeah.
really want to do a listener episode soon. so
Super bad. And
would be helpful if you sent them in this week.
true crime, paranormal, ghosts,
Aliens,
aliens, Sasquatch, anything
murderers.
scary.
Yeah,
Anything that's, questionable.
Yeah.
Let us know.
your sister.
Yeah. Oh man, I could write a book. Maybe I should write a book.
Oh, I was saying it's like anybody's sister. I wasn't saying just yours.
I know, I was thinking about my sister though. Man, that's a whole nother podcast. Anyways, so have you checked in on the neighbors?
So, what's with the neighbors?
Bringing Amy out.
Oh, sorry.
Don't
See, I
get
forgot
dead.
that.
What's with the neighbors?
Don't get dead.
Say hi to your cats for us.
Meow.